Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, all of that good stuff. I titled this Sabbath Conclusion. I'm on my way home. The sun is down here in South Florida. There's no more sun. And it's going down. It's 6:43 here. What time it is, wherever you may be. But usually I'll hang around the congregation there at our class for a number of reasons. I always like to talk to the people. If there's anybody that has a question, kind of hang around for that. Especially when you teach a lesson like we talked today, that I put into that lesson that people may wonder, and you say something by design to get people to think. So, for instance, like we were talking about a part of the plan to salvation is that man has to turn back to the ground. And one of the conversations that came up out of that was whether or not it was a piece of fruit that Eve actually ate to make her understand the knowledge of good and evil. And so, of course, the answer to that in having those discussions and questions was no, no. They didn't just eat a piece of fruit and all of a sudden they became wise. That's not the case at all. What happened in all actuality was she had conversation with the wrong individual, and that made it a problem. So when you have a conversation with Satan, you cause that conversation to go into a different direction. I'm gonna white ends here. There it goes. So she basically had a conversation. She had a conversation with somebody she should have had a conversation with. And that was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, what's important is to realize, who did she have the conversation with? She had the conversation with Satan, the dragon, the serpent, the devil. All the same people, all the same individual. That's one individual whose name used to be Lucifer, who was an angel. He was a cherubim who was cast out to the earth. And then, of course, people say, well, but it says that she ate of the tree. But one of the key things to look at in that whole chapter, when the Almighty came walking through the garden, he says, where art thou? And he says, we hid because we naked. But look at what the Lord said. Who? Not what did you eat? Who told you that you were naked? Then he went to the allegory. Did you eat of the tree that I told you not to eat of? And yes, they did. But the question was, who told you? And of course, it was Satan. So that was one aspect that we got from that lesson. The other aspect was man is going to turn back to the ground from which he came. It's amazing because so many people think, and I know when it's at nighttime, it's hard for the camera to clear in. So many people think that when we die, we're going to heaven. And that is a big no-no. Some people think that when you die, you either go to heaven or hell, right there and then. That's what a lot of people think. And in essence, that's not the case. So that was another thing that came up out of the lesson. So it's always good to stay back, because I drop these little nuggets intentionally during the lesson that makes people wonder. And I drop them intentionally to get conversation, to spark conversation during and after the lesson. And I think that's important to do because it gives you an opportunity to bring up things that people thought that they already knew, but they really didn't know, or they thought you get to bring up things that people thought or assumed that were true that were not necessarily the case. So you'd be surprised how many people actually think, and I was one of them. Let me just say, I'm not excluding myself. I was one that thought that when you die, your fate is decided right there and then. Either you go to heaven or you go to hell. That's it. When it came to the first resurrection, the second resurrection, well, what do we think? Well, people didn't really think. They didn't even discuss it, It was just live right now and don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But you can't do that. It's for us to know how this thing is supposed to all unfold. Because the plan to salvation is about knowing how things unfold, how things take place. And so therefore it's incumbent that we do know these things. So when I leave these little nuggets out there, it's to really spark how important it is for you to know and understand what happened at the very beginning. Some people say, well, I don't really care. Somebody decided to run across the street. Some people say, well, I don't really care what happened at the very beginning. I mean, why is that so important? It's very important because people want to know, or people may ask you, when you tell people they got to return back to the ground, you have to understand why. Why is it that man has to return back to the ground? And in order to understand that, you got to understand what happened in the garden. And who was it? And where did Satan come from? In order to understand where Satan came from and why is he in the garden, you got to understand that he was cast down. He was over the earth. He was able to go freely back and forth. But he said, come, let us go up and let me become like unto God. You find that in Ezekiel, you find that in Isaiah, and you find that in Revelations, the 12th chapter. So the reason why it's important to understand all of that, then you can find out why was Satan even in the garden at the very beginning. Because some people are going to ask, well, how come God could just let man just do this and do that? Why do you have to put the tree of the knowledge of good and evil there? Well, in order to answer that question, you got to realize that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was not a literal tree. It was Satan himself, because that's who the woman had conversation with, and she took the conversation to Adam. So that's basically what it is. So, but once you understand the dynamics and the chronological order of things, then you're better equipped to teach it. So that's why I kind of hang around. It's sort of like how my day goes on the Sabbath. I try to get there as early as possible, especially if I have to teach what we consider to be Bible study. We call it Sabbath school. If I had to teach in the morning, and that is a little bit more relaxed atmosphere. People are allowed to ask questions, or we encourage questions to be asked during the presentation of the lesson. As you go, you kind of slow things down a little bit. You kind of let people ask questions as you go along, because people want to know. Today I taught about the Spanish Inquisition and all the various books that are out there that talks about the Spanish Inquisition and King Edward, King John, and the number that they did on the Jews, and how those books say the black Jews. So when you get into that, and the books refer to us as that way, and it was common knowledge, then it makes you think, and it makes you stop and slow down. So when you present that material, people are going to have a question. Wait a minute. Did it just say what I think it said? Yes. So you got to slow down a little bit, and that's why we do that in the morning time at 10 o'clock, 10:30, to let people have that opportunity to ask questions. But by the time we start to teach it in a lesson format, by that time, we would like for all of our elders, and they pretty much do, we tell them you need to have multiple scriptures from both the laws and the testimonies. So the laws and the testimonies is what we consider the book of Matthew all the way to Revelation. And the law is from Genesis and beyond the first 5 books, but also into the prophets. So the laws, the prophets, and the testimonies. Because what you'll find is that all of the prophets are speaking the same thing. One of these days you can do a breakdown of the Bible, and you'll find that you got the law, which is the law of Moses, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. You got the book of the Judges, the book of Joshua, which is what transpired after the death of Moses, Judges. Then you got the Chronicles, the Kings. The book of the Chronicles and the book of the Kings are basically a repeat. Whatever you can find in the book of Chronicles, you'll find in the book of Kings. Then you're going to get over into the book of the prophets. You get over into the book of Job. Some people feel that that's an allegory book, but nonetheless, either or, however you look at it, Job was a character in the Bible. He was not an allegoric character. Some people feel that he was, but I'm not going to speak on that, yay, nay. I read it for what it is. But when you get over into Zechariah, Zephaniah, Haggai, Malachi, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Obadiah, Ezra, Nehemiah, you get over into those guys, those are prophets. Now, some people say, oh, that's a major prophet, that's a minor prophet. The Bible does not call them major or minor. It calls them the prophets. Even the book of Psalms, David is considered to be a prophet. Because when you read the book of Psalms, it tells you everything that the Messiah is going to go through. Okay? Read Psalms 22:1. It starts off by saying, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Okay? Those are the same words that were spoken by Jesus on the cross. But yet they were written in the book of Psalms. So it's important to understand what David is saying, because David is a prophet. He speaks about a lot. I know, my it gets a little, however there, it does. So I can't control that. Blurry, because I'm talking at night. But listen, keep Pastor Bowie in prayer. I heard that he was having a spell of dizziness, also called vertigo. I've had that. It's a bad feeling. When I get it for days. I've had it as long as weeks. I get that vertigo, and that vertigo is nothing. You can take some medication called, forgot the name of that medication, but it doesn't help. It makes you sleepy, but that medication doesn't work. The only thing that will work is just being up and walking around. No matter how dizzy you are, you got to get up, you got to walk around. You have to really walk around, and it makes it go away. That's what makes vertigo. Antivert. That's the name of the medication, Antivert. Antivert doesn't work. No medication helps. It just makes you sleepy. But being up and walking around, especially outside, if you go outside and walk around, it would definitely go away. But it's cold in Chicago right now. Lots happening in Chicago. Lots happening in the world. For this to be a Black History Month, a lot of things have gone down. A lot of things have gone down that you can look at in the news that have had an adverse impact on um, people of color as a whole. A lot has taken place. I'm dealing with that car in front of me that's got its headlights on. But I want to thank all of you all that have, I want to thank you all for being a part of this channel. It's really great. It's awesome that you're a part of this channel. The that you give me your comments and all of that, it's just wonderful. It just makes me continue to just really stay into the Word and wanting to do the Word, study the Word. It makes me study. It takes a lot to study. I will share this because somebody asked me today from the congregation, how do you go about studying? And what I do is I study something based upon a subject. It's the best way to do it. Go by subject. If you don't have the Blue Letter Bible app, get that app. I also like Bible Gateway. It's another software or application that is the Bible, and I use Bible Gateway when I'm at the computer studying. I also use the Blue Letter Bible. Sister Sheila says that she's had vertigo before, and it makes you feel bad, not too bad. I hope, she hopes he feels better soon. Thank you, Sister Sheila. When I study, I like having my Bible with me, my physical Bible with me. But when I'm actually at the computer and I'm doing research, I use Bible Gateway. Some people use Bible Hub. I prefer Bible Gateway. And the reason is I can quickly cut and copy and paste things into a Word document that I later go back and read. Now, there is something called Blue Letter Bible. Blue Letter Bible, from your web browser, you can put in Blue Letter Bible, even in Google search, and it's going to come up. Here's one of the reasons why I like Blue Letter Bible. Blue Letter Bible, you can put in words and phrases, and it will let you know every place from Genesis to Revelation that phrase exists. And you can start from the beginning and get a better context of the field. I'm sorry, I got hiccups. Now, that becomes very important when you are studying Paul's letters, okay? You can almost read Paul's letters, take out a phrase and put it in Blue Letter Bible, and you can find out every place that it exists, every place. For instance, when Paul mentions the word grafted, you can put that word grafted, and it's going to take you to the book of Jeremiah. You can read it and come to the conclusion that Paul got that from Jeremiah. So, and then you can read it and get a better understanding of it. So that's one of the things that I do when I try to get that. So, how you doing, Gabriel? Drama Queen, how are you? So that's one of the ways I study, using that Blue Letter Bible. It's a very useful tool. It's very handy for research. So I recommend that you use the Blue Letter Bible, especially for phrases, and it's good when you're doing Paul's letters. Like you can go into Paul when he says, uh, wild olive branch. Remember, Paul speaks, and he speaks with the assumption that you know what he's talking about and that you are very familiar with the word, the scriptures. Now remember, the scriptures are the laws and the prophets. All of that is considered to be scriptures. Now I'm going to drop something on you, and you may not receive this, but think about it. The scriptures is not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Thessalonians. Those are not the scriptures. Those are not the scriptures. The scriptures is Genesis through Malachi. That is the scriptures. So the scriptures are the laws, the Psalms, and the prophets. That's what the scriptures are. So when Paul talks about the scriptures are used, when they say it is written, okay, when Paul and the Messiah, when Jesus says, you know, it is written, or Moses said, they're talking about the scriptures. Whenever they said Moses said, you got to go to look for it in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, or Deuteronomy, the first 5 books. That's where you have to find that at. But when it says, and the prophets stated, sometimes Jesus will say which prophet said it. Sometimes they're talking in, when they start saying, and it's said by the prophets, it means more than one prophet said it. Okay? And you can go back in there because all of the prophets are saying the same thing. So this is how you have to study the Bible. Okay? This is how you have to study. Paul's letters are simply that. They are letters or epistles. That's what they are. They're not scriptures. In Paul's letters, he speaks of the scriptures. But remember, in his letters, he's writing about with the assumptions that you know the scriptures. This is why Peter said in his letter, all of Paul's letters are hard to be understood. That's in 1 Peter, the 3rd chapter, I believe. He says, all of Paul's letters are hard to be understood, especially if you are wrestling or you are unlearned about the scriptures. So when Paul wrote to the Gentiles, because the Gentiles don't know anything about the scriptures. Somebody says, what do you mean they don't know anything about the scriptures? At that time, the Gentiles knew nothing nothing about the scriptures. They knew nothing about the Torah. They knew nothing about the Psalms or the prophets. They knew nothing about it. How do you know that? Because they depended upon the apostles to teach them. That's all they knew. It's whatever the apostles taught them. This is why Cornelius, he knew about Christ because there was communication. There was people talking about Christ all the time. So therefore he knew about Christ. And that's why he wanted to be taught. That's why they sent for Paul. And he prayed that God would send them somebody. So you all hold on just for 1 second. Don't go anywhere. Hello?
Hi.
I'm going to make y'all hungry. I like to have some oxtails.
What size oxtail?
How about a large oxtail?
large oxtail,
What comes with that?
rice and peas.
Rice and peas. Okay. And may I have a ginger beer?
When you come to the window, order it there.
Okay. Now, hey, can you do me a favor?
Go ahead.
Um, the large oxtails. Can you put some the portionate size of meat in there so that I don't get just more rice?
But the large oxtail is come with 8 pieces of oxtail.
Okay, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
All
I'll see
right.
you in a minute.
Alrighty.
Oh, do you all have fried chicken?
Yes, we do.
Can I get one leg? Can you charge me for one leg or two legs?
1 leg.
How about two legs? Your fried chicken is so good. I don't want to miss it.
I'm sorry?
Your fried chicken is so good. May I have 2 pieces of fried chicken?
Sure, not a problem.
The leg,
Okay.
you can put it to the side. Hey,
Sure.
what about that? What's that bread you got? The fried bread.
No
That-
more. It's finished.
You have no more? Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Did I make anybody hungry? Gabriel said he's frying some chicken right now. Okay, Gabriel. Well, I'm on a Saturday after service. My how you doing? Susan says order me something too. So listen, one of the best things about being in South Florida, you have a lot of Caribbean restaurants, and I love Caribbean food. I love Caribbean food. Oxtails, brown stew chicken, jerk chicken, the rice and peas. It's so good. I can't just really. So I kind of. Oh, I'm sorry, Gabriel. I'm Sister Gabriel. I'm sorry, Gabriel. I'm thinking about. Okay. So, Sister Gabriel, thank you for telling me that because I didn't know. I always just thought. Thank you very much. So, Sister Gabriel is cooking. She's making some fried chicken right now. So, anyway, my dad named me. Okay, well, that's okay. Okay, I think that's great. He gave you a good name, by the way.
A large oxtail.
Yes.
Ginger beer and 2 pieces of barbecue.
Yes.
I'll be $23.29.
$23 for what? Oh, because I got 2 pieces of chicken, right? Oh my
And the
God! And the drink. What kind of drink did I get?
The D&G ginger beer.
Ginger beer. You're not gonna give me any. Do you have any of that? What do you call it? The not the coconut water. Carrot juice.
Yeah, I love carrot juice.
Is it fresh?
Yeah, it comes every day.
It does.
Yeah.
I take some carrot juice too.
Want a carrot juice on top of this?
Carrot juice on top of that. Yeah, so usually I treat myself driving home on a Sabbath. I give my wife and them a break because they do their pizza thing, you know what I'm saying? But me, I treat myself. I didn't eat lunch today because I just didn't eat lunch at the congregation. Everybody else ate. I think they said they forgot to fix my food. But I normally eat last. I want to make sure everybody got some food before I go eat, right? But anyway, and I didn't matter because I knew I was going to come home and treat myself to this. I just knew it. And so this is a place called Dutch Pot. So if you're ever in South Florida, look for a place called Dutch Pot. It's got the best Jamaican food that you can ever taste in your life. It's food that tastes better because everybody here is that's cooking is from the island. It's better than anybody else. Yeah, $23. Yeah. It's a little bit more than that because I added a carrot juice for that.
This is yours.
So, I'm on the YouTube channel and I'm telling everybody how much y'all charge me for my food. And I told everybody when they in Miami, come to Dutch Pot
Dutch pot on Pembroke Pines.
on Pembroke Pines. So you know what I think I ought to get for just promoting the business? Y'all don't have any of the sweet bread in there for real?
What's the cocoa bread?
Not the cocoa bread, the one they got up front. They dip it, and it's like sweet. It's like it's hard. It's
Fried dumpling.
not fried dumpling. Wait a minute. I almost said it. I almost said it. Um, I almost said it. God, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's almost like a not the carnival. It's
Festival?
festival.
Oh no, I have no more.
See, I knew it was something like carnival festival. Okay, I knew it was something like that. Y'all don't have any more.
No.
Okay.
Come in the mornings and then
No.
you get them, okay?
Well, you see, in the morning on a Saturday, I'm in church
Every time. Every morning.
every morning.
Yeah.
Because you know, the day is the Sabbath. It was the Sabbath. You know about the Sabbath?
I heard about it, but I don't know no information about
You don't know. Okay, so you have YouTube. You got a smartphone.
it.
I want you to do this. Pastor Johnson.
Yeah. Pastor Johnson.
Look up Pastor Johnson. Just type it in on YouTube. That's me. That's my channel. I want you to go to Pastor Johnson. I want you to look at the lessons I do. When I come back, I'm gonna ask you if you're going to it. You too. You too. That's easy to remember, right? Johnson. I'm a Jamaican. I'm a Jamaican. I'm a Jamaican. Yeah,
Fine.
I'm a Jamaican.
Oh, you're American?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
So when I'm telling you, Johnson is a common Jamaican name, right?
Yeah, it is.
So look up Pastor Johnson on YouTube, and then tell me what y'all think about it. Okay? Now you got everything I need, right? You got my fried chicken,
Fried chicken. 2 piece of barbecue.
barbecue.
A fried chicken. I don't know.
Okay. So there you go. If it's barbecue, that's okay. I'll let you know how it is. Okay.
Alright, good night.
Good night. I wanted fried chicken, not barbecue chicken. The fried chicken is really off the chain. Now, Susan H., I want to come to Jersey. We're going to talk about that. The next Great Gathering Hebrew Conference is going to be in Jersey. Okay, that's where we're going to do it. That's where I want to come. We got to get a venue. So we're going to be talking. I'm going to do a Zoom meeting for everybody. Once we get the 800 number set up, we're going to do a Zoom meeting, private meeting, but it's going to be on Zoom, and I'm going to want to know the ins and outs, okay? The thing is with North Carolina and Philadelphia, there was a group that got together in both of those situations, and they put the conference together. So we'll talk about that. But I was sharing with you all how I study the Bible. So that's what I do. I get the Blue Letter Bible, and I pick up a subject, and that's the best way to do it. Get a little word in. That's right. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, thank you. Okay. So yeah, that's what I do. Okay. So Gabriel, how you doing, Mega Old School? Mega Old School says, listen to him teach. Oh, thank you, Mega Old School. We're all under a tornado warning. Really? In February? Y'all got a February? Y'all got a... Oh, because it was 78 degrees there. Yeah. Okay. So Gabriel is cooking some fried chicken strips. I think that's what she said. Fried chicken strips. Oh, by the way, I cook too. I know how to cook. I'm going to give y'all a recipe. I'm always sharing the word, but as I go home, I'm going to give you all a recipe, okay? And y'all going to say, man, I didn't know Pastor can cook. I'm going to give you a recipe. Now, y'all listen to this, because I'm going to delete this after I give it to you, because I don't want it all out there. So listen. Get you a Cornish hen. Now, a Cornish hen, a whole small chicken. Y'all know what it is, Cornish hen. Now, when you get the Cornish hen, you got to wash it. It's if you can, buy it thawed. Don't buy it frozen. Buy it thawed. It's fresh, and it's got a expiration date on it. Not that long. So get you a Cornish hen thawed. Okay, now, once you get the Cornish hen, um, it's the whole chicken. It's already been skinned, all like that. Although they say it's been pre-washed, wash it again. Sometimes it has the little bag around the neck area. Pour that out. Just pour that out. Okay. Now, what I do with that is I boil it. I only boil the neck part and the gizzards. I boil it. I boil it all together. How you doing, Ricky? When you boil that, you want the broth. Don't boil it with a whole lot of water. It's best to broil it, not broil, boil, B-O-I-L-E-D. Boil it with water. I say probably like a cup, no more than 2 cups of water, okay? No more than 2 cups of water. Now, you're going to boil it. You're going to boil it slowly and just let it go through its thing, you know. You can almost like boil the water first. Then when the water comes to the boil, turn it down and then put the neck and the gizzards that you got from the Cornish hen in there. You're going to use that water later, okay? Now, you're going to take the Cornish hen. You're going to put it in the oven. I think it's like, look at it, I think it's around 425, but look at the directions, it'll tell you. Put it in the oven, okay? Now, you're going to take some stovetop stuffing. You know, it's what it's called, stovetop stuffing. It's basically going to be your dressing. Take that, look at it, and it tells you how much water to put in there per serving. The thing is, you're not going to use regular water. You're going to use the juice that you boiled that has the juice from the chicken neck and the chicken gizzard. Don't use the liver. Don't put the liver in there. It's a different flavor. Because in that bag, you're going to find the gizzard, you're going to find the liver and the neck. Throw away the gizzard or do something else with it. I don't even deal with the liver of the chicken. I only deal with the gizzard and the neck. That is the water that you're going to use to make your stovetop stuffing, which is your dressing, okay? Once you make that, as your chicken is cooking, you're going to take the stovetop stuffing that you use the broth from the gizzard and the neck. You make your stovetop. Once it's made, you're going to take the chicken out. Wow, it's still cooking. Just go ahead and take it out. It's not finished yet. Open up where the head was and stuff that with that stovetop stuffing. Stuff the entire chicken. Put as much in there. Once you cook the stovetop stuffing, it's cooked. Stuff that. Take that and stuff it in there all the way. Now, put that back in. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to buy a half a can. It's about this big, not a whole can, a half a can of sliced pineapples. Sliced pineapples. It's already sliced. It's got the hole in them. You're going to take the juice from the sliced pineapples. You're going to take that. You're going to take a little pickle juice, just a little bit of pickle juice, and you're going to mix that with the sliced pineapple juice. Just a little bit, okay? Not a whole lot. How much do you use? I would say use maybe a half a cup of the pineapple juice, a half a cup of the pineapple juice, and then take some pickle juice and pour it in there. You're gonna mix that up in a container. Then you're gonna go in the refrigerator and you're gonna get some mustard, and then you're gonna get some honey, and you're gonna get some ketchup, and you're gonna mix all of that in together. Mix those by itself. That's gonna be honey, mustard, and ketchup. Honey, mustard, and ketchup. If you got a little barbecue sauce, you can mix that, but I just say take the honey, the mustard, and the ketchup and mix that, okay? Honey, mustard, and ketchup. You can take a little teensy pitch, just a little bit of brown sugar and just put that in there. Just maybe an eighth of a teaspoon. Just put in there, just a little dab. And also grab a little lemon, a sliced lemon, and squeeze just a little lemon juice in there. Mix all of that up. Then go ahead and get your pickle juice, a little bit. You want that of that. You want most of it to be pineapple. Now, what you're going to have is once you mix all that, it should be like a sweet and sour taste. You want it thick. So that's why you don't want too much of the pickle juice. You want just a tab of pickle juice, mostly pineapple juice. But your mustard and your ketchup and your honey should be a little thick. So when you pour that other part in there, you're going to basically make a glaze. Now, by this time, when your chicken has about 10 more minutes left before it's cooked, you're going to take a toothpick and you're going to take one of those slices of, one slice of pineapple, and you're going to sit it on top of the Cornish hen. Put that back in the oven. Let that cook with just the pineapple for a little bit. Then you're going to pour it out. You're going to pull it back out. And as you've been stirring that mixture that I told you about, it's going to be like a glaze, like a barbecue sauce glaze that you made out of the pineapple juice, little tab of pickle, little tab of lemon, honey, the ketchup, the mustard, the brown sugar. You're going to mix that. And then the last 5 minutes of that Cornish hen, you're going to pour all of that all over that Cornish hen. Pour it all over it, all over it. I mean, like all over it. Just take it and just basin it with it. Put that back in the oven and let it finish cooking, okay? Sometimes I've been known to broil it, cut the broiler on for about the last 2 minutes of it and just let all of that do its thing. My goodness, when you pour that out of the oven and just put that on your plate, the Cornish hen is the meal itself, because remember, you got the stovetop stuffing inside of it. You got the pineapple, and you just cut it and eat it, and my goodness, it is the best. I'm like, mwah, So sometimes I do 2 of them at a time, because I just cut it. My wife can't eat a whole one, so you can cut it in half. When you get ready to serve it, just cut it in half. Take one of those big knives and just cut it right down the middle, right? Split the pineapple right down the breast of it and just cut it. So you have a leg and a breast and thigh on one side and on another side. Take that and just put it on the plate. Now you can put some little vegetables on there. I don't, because let me tell you, that's good and by itself. Mwah! The best you can have. Now, get you a glass of a little wine. I would say the Moscato, or a little red wine with it, or a glass of tea. And let me tell you something. You, my brothers and sisters, are going to say, wow, now that is a meal. So, you're not going to better. If you didn't hear this, if you didn't write it down, too bad, because I'm going to erase. I don't put my recipes out there like that much. So, but listen, it was a wonderful time sharing this moment with you all. For me, just to say thank you, and thank you for being a subscriber. Don't forget to share this channel. Don't forget to share some of the messages. Thank you all for tuning in today. That message is going to be taken down because they're going to edit it, and then they're going to put it back up again. So we always edit it. So that's what's going to happen, but it will be put up again. If you go to my playlist on the channel, look under Sabbath messages, you'll see all of the Sabbath messages. Go back and look at them, listen to them. and watch them by title. That's under playlist. Look for Sabbath Message. So Ricky, be blessed. Mega Old School, Drama Queen, uh, Sister Gabriel. I said Mega Old School already. All of you all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Because Susan H, thank you all. I'm gonna go and eat my oxtails, my rice and peas, and all that good stuff. Sheila, thank you very much. You all keep Pastor Bowie in prayer. I'm going to check on him on Monday. My desire is to be in Chicago on Saturday for the last lesson of what he's been doing on these series. So I hope I'm going to be there. That's my desire. I heard it's going to snow, so I'm kind of like this, but I'm going to see. But thank you all for tuning in.